And we're live. The Choke Point, episode 2. I am here with
Alyssa Suderman.
So I've been hanging out in Denver, and it's been an excellent, awesome time. Got to plug in with a bunch of different people in the veteran community, especially the Rangers out here. It's been a phenomenal time. The temperature of the people here are just super warm and vibrant and friendly. And that's what I want to advocate to more people to do, is get around good people that are on the same movement. This is episode 2. I wanted to bring up some different topics, specifically entrepreneurs and veterans that are moving towards progression and starting their own businesses. Another topic is social media. A lot of people are getting involved in it to the point where sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So I want to talk specifically about that. SHOT Show coming up, so we're going to talk about that. And so I'm going to let you get into a little bit of your background, how you're involved with the veteran community. I've been in contact with you probably since about September. We actually met through social media. So.
All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Not the roll of you.
Cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for having me. And so a little bit about myself. I work for HavokJournal.com, which is a voice for veterans under the Havok Media brand. I am the Chief Marketing Officer for them. I do advertising, marketing, building business partnerships from the ground up. We are brand new within the building relationships part of our business, and pretty excited about the growth that we've had over the past year. Marty Scovland and Leo Jenkins were the original owners of the company. They created quite the legacy for everyone who has since taken over all of the different brands of Blackside Concepts. You would know them as a few badass rangers that traveled around the country last year, 21 days for nomadic veterans, which supported Gallant Few. They've also written several books, both individually and together. Another avenue in which I am involved in the veteran and law enforcement community is doing event planning and advertising through Candyss Associates. Both jobs I have created through connections on social media. That's been a huge part of my life over the past year, including creating a ton of different partnerships and friendships. And I think that people totally undermine Facebook and Instagram as ways of becoming a professional. I know that a lot of people use LinkedIn in that manner, but that is how I have received every single job that I've had since I was in college, which I graduated in 2009. So that's a little bit about myself.
Nice. And you brought up social media, and we have been talking about that recently, and branding, and I feel like a lot of people, especially me, kind of found identities in social media, and that's been helpful and at the same time hurtful. You can fall into the trap of being isolated and creating this false facade and thinking that you have to maintain that, and if I didn't get enough likes on this photo, then it's not as important. And do you ever feel like you've fallen into that trap of like having to maintain an image or not feeling as important if you don't get enough likes on a specific photo?
I think you have to, yes, I have. I think you have to really narrow down who you are and who you want to represent on social media. And you have to be aware of everything that it affects in your life and the people that it affects, as far as your mutual friends. A quote that my former boss always said was, "You are the compilation of the 5 people that you hang out with the most." And I still feel like that is very prevalent on social media. I think that the people that you interact with, who, if you share posts, if you're constantly liking and commenting back and forth, you have to be aware of of that relationship, and that is prevalent for me both in my business profile as well as my personal profile. I keep my personal Instagram, which has been a huge success for me on creating a name for myself within the community in a very small manner. It's not, I don't have a ton of followers, and I don't thrive for that on my personal account. I want everything that I am excited and motivated and interested in to come across, which would include cooking, traveling, fitness, all of the different endeavors that I support, the nonprofits that I care for, and hanging out with good friends. So I think that you have to always remain true to your core self. Obviously, everyone has down days or off days, but you have to remember that you are a representation not only of yourself, but the community in which you are part of. We've talked a lot about gun bunnies and, females that portray themselves in different light. And I am not a judgmental person by any facet. If you want to put yourself out there in that manner, then that is fine. But something that I have learned by working in this community as a female civilian, you are representing every other female civilian who's trying to be a professional within this industry. So that's something that I try to maintain as honorable and humble and tasteful and classy as possible.
I think, for me, as being a veteran, and one thing I've seen that you could have this phenomenal background. I was special operations, or I was Marine Corps, I was Army, and I did this and that. Nobody really gets to see that unless you put it out there. And a quote that I like is, it can take 20 years to build a reputation, and 5 minutes or one post to ruin that. So a lot of people that I know have phenomenal backgrounds, and they get caught up in the Instagram or social media drama and post something wazoo, and that's your lasting impression. My platoon sergeant used to always say, people remember your first and last impression, and that's what they remember you by. And so I've fallen into that, and luckily I have friends that keep me in my left and right lateral limits, and hey, you're fucking up, you need to clean up your image, or hey, you might want to not post stuff like that. And so we had met with one of my buddies out here in Colorado that I contracted with, and he was really saying that being connected is great because you maintain that connectivity, and I think that's paramount in the veteran community, that we continue that, and that's going to help lower the veteran suicide rates, is staying connected to each other, but accountability as well. When you stay connected with your friends, if you have a goal, hey, are you still tracking on board to do what you said you were going to do? Slacked off a little bit, or maybe you're going down a dark path, and they'll grab you by the back of your kit and make sure you're staying on track. So when we met with that friend, that was one of the instrument things that I pulled out of that conversation, is the connectivity. There's a lot of groups out there that are doing great things, and I think the more the merrier, as far as raising awareness for a lot of the different issues that are occurring within the veteran community as guys begin to transition from being military warriors to civilians, is staying connected. And I think there's so many resources out there as far as suicide awareness and PTSD and connection groups, and I don't think that one answer is going to be the solution. I think that the more we have, the better, and I welcome it. And that's what I wanted to accomplish with this podcast. Is I don't have all the answers, and I don't know all the answers. I meet with great people every day, and I like to get their input on a public platform and create a dialogue and begin to dissect the issues. And find the answers. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's through that, I think it is good to involve yourselves in different groups of friends within social media, but also remember that social media is not life, and that you are only seeing a snippet, a 10-second video, a 15-second video, glorified, filtered picture of their life. And I think that a lot of people, and I will take a full day every weekend to come up with all of my content for the week that I need for all of the different pages that I manage, but also just to flush myself of all of the constant information and constant need for interaction in that social avenue. I think that becomes a big problem in many different facets of life within the veteran community. I think that is a huge hindrance to those who are feeling quite alone, is because they're seeing hundreds of guys down in the All-Star Stadium in Texas watching 13 hours. They're seeing all of these people gathering around, and they're feeling so alone. And so I think that remembering to reach out to those people and asking them to go bowling on a Saturday, go horseback riding, go to the range, come out to Colorado, or just getting out and moving is very instrumental in those relationships that you do create on social media.
And since you got, like, when did you first start getting connected into the veteran community, and what has that been like for you within your own life?
I have been, I would say, part of the veteran community for a very long time. I grew up in a military family, but currently, as an adult, I've known a few guys ever since I was in high school. I knew them before they got into the Ranger Battalion, and then I've known them afterwards, and that's how I got involved. I got really active with everything last February when I went to a Ranger breakfast and got to hang out with the Killerman Sons, got to hang out with about 60 different guys as Leo Jenkins was leaving Denver to go on his big around-the-world adventure. So I've been active within the community for almost a year now. From there, as a professional, I got involved in November of 2015, and I took on some different roles on top of my full-time job, and have had a blast ever since. So yeah.
So we'll kind of transition from there. One thing I love advocating and really boasting out to other people is, as vets, you come into the military, you don't really know much about what you're getting into, but you learn your job. You become this finely tuned machine, and you operate the way that, within your job capacity they wanted you to. And go for me, I didn't know anything about medicine, and then going through a course to feeling comfortable working at, moderate level surgery skills within a active combat zone. And so I feel like, me personally and the guys that I work with, that we can take our knowledge, skills, and abilities and adapt to learn whatever skill sets we're required of. And the idea of working a 9 to 5 and taking that mediocre mindset, I got to take this job, work the next 40 years, and go to college so I can spend the next 40 years paying back that college degree. Like, it's crap to me. Like, we can find the things that we're passionate about, make a business strategy, make a business plan, and begin living our lives doing the things that we're passionate about, being comfortable in that. So the entrepreneurial mindset, I love seeing veteran-owned companies and learning how they got started. Like, I know on podcast number 1 we had Norm, who pretty much started up Ready Room Graphics. He started off painting prosthetics for amputees and wounded warriors, and that gave him that sense of purpose. And then from there began painting building guns, which we had always done in the military. And so I love seeing that progressive mindset of taking an idea and throwing out the aspect of money and just taking the ball and running home with it. What are your thoughts about being an entrepreneur and veterans taking on that entrepreneurial mindset?
I think you have to be, you hit the nail on the head with, you have to know how to adapt. It's an ever-changing industry, ever-changing society, ever-changing economy. So, and I think that there are so many good leadership qualities that come out of veterans who, and that's why they do become so successful in business, is because they have all of those different skills. They know how to lead, and that's what you need in a boss or in somebody who wants to do things themselves. And for me personally, I went through a layoff and realized, and I had set myself up pretty good with an internship and really learned from, and I learned within that business every single step, from starting at entry level and ending up in a senior level position in that company. So I feel like through everything that I learned, I could see what I needed as an entry level person to where I am now. And I don't ever want to allow my future and my livelihood as far as my money goes in someone else's hand. So that is something that motivates me. I also don't want to have the restraints of not being able to go and travel the world, which is something I'm very passionate about. My end goal with all of this is to open up my laptop for a few seconds on the beach. I don't want sand to get into my laptop, but that is something that is ideal for me as an entrepreneur. It's been a wild ride, and I think within something that I've noticed within the veteran-owned businesses is there is a lack of understanding of marketing and advertising, and there are no funds being allocated to that on a grander level than what is being pushed on social media, which is very dangerous. You should never, it's just similar to an entrepreneur. You should have seven different strains of income flow. And when you're a business, you should have multiple different avenues of advertising and not just relying on one, because if tomorrow your Instagram account got pulled and that was your main source of being a business, would your business survive from the ground up again? So something that, as far as a tip from my perspective, very personal perspective, is to make sure that you're branding yourself on several different avenues other than social media.
Well, what I like about the veteran community as far as being entrepreneurs is that, I know for me personally, when I got out of the military, to break down the acronyms to where civilians can understand it, that was a hassle in and of itself. But to put on paper, yes, I can be under stress. I can, be in a parasympathetic nervous system breakdown and revert back into sympathetic, and handle stress, be able to lead others, be able to adapt to the different tasks that are thrown at me. That's hard to articulate in a resume, and it's frustrating. I remember reading one of Leo Jenkins's articles about assimilation and how it's difficult coming out of the military, like a special operations medic, and I could take my hands and do this and that, and I can't even get a job as a mall cop security. It's just frustrating knowing what I'm capable of and having to articulate that to somebody else and them not being able to see it. So the idea of sitting for months on end posting job resumes after the other, and getting no feedback, it's frustrating. And then the isolation, I'm sure there's tons of resources out there, but with my personal experience, I got out and I was all alone. There was no squad leader. Hey, did you go to your VA appointment? Have you, going to the Small Business Association and set up an appointment to, figure out a business plan. You like doing X, Y, and Z. Let's figure out how to make that a business for you that you can run and manage. And so I love connecting with the different organizations and businesses that are stressing more of going that route than applying to jobs or taking some position where, after a certain amount of years you'll move up. I don't want to be handed anything. I want to. No veteran I know is afraid of hard work. That's why we joined. We wanted to be a part of something great. We wanted to work hard. We're not afraid of that. So to take that backseat mindset of I'm just gonna coast. In a few years I'll get a promotion. And I enjoy the idea of a job that I create where I can put my efforts into, and I know that I'll work hard, and my profits will reflect my hard work.
I think it's important to. We talked about it earlier this morning. Is everyone, let's chill and build an empire on Instagram and
relationships goals.
You have to leave a legacy, and there's a difference between leaving a legacy and just building an empire. If you're just building an empire, it sounds to me very selfish. Leaving a legacy is carrying it on down to the different generations of warfighters who are going to have such a different lifestyle coming out of the military than even what you guys have had now. How would you compare a veteran of Vietnam and World War II with a lack of social media compared to a veteran of post 9/11? How would you compare them?
That's a tough one.
Yeah. I think because they have a lack of social media, do you think that it is easier, or was it easier for them, or harder?
Social media makes it easy and hard at the same time.
That was the right answer.
Yeah. I'll leave it at that then. I don't want to mess it up. I feel like sometimes social media can be great because you can instantaneously transmit information or an idea and get it across multiple platforms where other people can jump on board. But then at the same time, it's so easy just to click hashtag fucking this, whatever, we're awesome, done, and no thought to it. It's just that insta fame that I want it now, and it's not that. Like the people that I see in social media that do great as far as businesses, like they put their personality behind it. Tank Machine on Instagram, check him out. He's one person that I've loved following here recently. I saw him through recoil rifle slings because I was looking to get one, and a lot of his posts, like he has great photos, he has great comments, he's interactive with his fans, but he puts a lot of passion and personality behind what he does. And we actually got the chance to sit down with him here in Denver, have some drinks and have some dinner, and I love. You don't see what happened before the Insta fame.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the struggle that veteran had. You don't see the tribulation, the trials. Maybe they came back from deployment, their bank account was wiped, they had nobody to come home to. Maybe they didn't have family. Maybe before they joined the military, they didn't get the silver spoon. Like, we hung out with another buddy of mine who talked about, money wasn't in our genetics. We didn't grow up into money. We came into broken homes. And Tank, he really shared a personal side of his upbringing, that it wasn't all, roses and perfume. And you don't see that. All you see is what they've accomplished and what they've achieved and where they are now. And that was a great interaction for me personally, meeting him. A lot of people are afraid to be uniquely them, especially in the veteran community. I mean, you go into the military, you become, like I said, this finely tuned machine. You operate one way, and you get into society, and you don't necessarily fit into the mold that you think you need to, and then you feel like you need to embody this dysfunctional veteran title. No, you're functional. You're just a different functional. And so he kept stressing, I'm just me. I'm passionate about what I do. I know where I came from. I know that at the end of the day, what I've accomplished and what I can accomplish, and whatever's standing in my way, I'm going to run that over and keep going towards my goals. And that was awesome interaction for me, meeting him. Yeah.
Well, and I think something that I talked about with Tank is a lot of people don't realize how much work it is, and it's not
easy button.
Yeah, it's not constantly pushing social media. It's not anything like that. In fact, it's constant work to try and make it for yourself and make it for, if you have dependents, you have to want to constantly learn. I created a new portion for our Havok Journal team on Tumblr, and I'm going to employ someone to learn more about that avenue in order for us to grow on that avenue. And we'll see if it's successful. If it's not, then it's something that we've tried, and we'll go from there. I'm really excited for SHOT Show next week. And it's going to be I don't know if I'm prepared for this, so cheers to everybody. It'll be my first time at SHOT Show as a professional, so it'll be fun. Something I didn't answer a question earlier about what has helped me grow within the community, and I would say that I came in knowing that I needed and wanted to be mentored and to learn from some of the best and strongest women within the community, be it they served, or if they're civilian, or if they're within the tactical community. I have created so many strong women connections, and they drive me every day to be better as a woman, as an entrepreneur within this military sector. It's important to have people who are constantly pushing you to be better in your life on a daily basis. And so there's no way, and I tell them this all the time, that there'd be no way that I could be doing and being where I'm at without them. I could be doing what I am doing right now without them. But it is easier and a heck of a lot more fun having those women stand behind me in every effort that I am doing with all of the different things that I'm a part of.
I talked about that with Dino as far as having mentors. I talked about it with Paul. My sniper from my last deployment is the mentorship, having people that encourage you and keep you in check. But also I feel like it's important to have, one, being a student. We always did that in the military. You're on deployments, and today it's not tie-in. Today it's malfunction drills. Tomorrow it's lock picking. Just always being a student, always improving your craft, always trying to learn more, never being comfortable where you're at. For me, like daily disciplines, the speech about making your bed every day, but there's so many things that I try and do throughout my day, whether it's watching a motivational video on YouTube, whether it's reading some inspirational article, calling somebody that I'll look up to get some kickback and pushback from them. What are some things maybe you do weekly or you do daily to help you grow as an entrepreneur?
So I would say something that influences me randomly throughout the day, as far as Instagram goes, I follow, and on Facebook, but they like to filter those out. So with Instagram, I follow a lot of different entrepreneurs as far as Millionaire Mentor. I love Andy Frisella with First Form. I really enjoy Dave Ramsey as far as financials go. Having those constant reminders and before 5 a.m. By far one of my favorite Instagram accounts is waking up every day before 5 a.m., which is something that I don't do yet. And making sure that you start out every day with those positive reinforcements. That is what kind of led me to getting to know you, is you are constantly inspiring others in so many different fashions, as far as, if guys want to join the military, you're a good person to go for that. If you are just needing that jolt of, hey, go do you and be yourself and figure out what your passion is, I feel like that comes in so many different ways within the posts that you put up. So just surrounding yourself with people who are constantly motivating you is the best. Something that I am actively doing throughout 2016 is removing any negativity, be it social media people that I'm following or different groups that I'm part of on Facebook, which I know sounds silly because I feel like this whole conversation has been part of social media, and I think a lot of people, especially within our generation, don't realize. I still get embarrassed that I spend so many hours on social media throughout the week, but that is such a big part of my career that I can't ignore any of that.
I mean, with that, yes, spending time on social, like, if you're involved in drama or sometimes I enjoy the occasional humor on social media, that if I spend, 6 hours my day looking at somebody's personal drama on social media, I'll kind of gig myself for that, because that's 6 hours I could have dedicated to back checking my finances, catching up with friends, being motivated, X, Y, and Z. But social media is instant transmission. I get a lot of my news updates from social media. There's a lot of accounts that dedicate to being, current event broadcasters and motivators. So I don't think social media is bad in that aspect of if you dedicate a lot of time to it.
Right.
It's what you're doing with that time. There are a lot of accounts that dedicate just to drama. There are accounts that dedicate just to current events. There are some that dedicate to humor, and it's good to laugh. I'd say what you're dedicating that time towards. I mean, instant transmission, like, think about it, years ago, like 200 years ago, if I had an idea and you're in another continent, how long it would take me to get that idea to you. Now I can do a hashtag and you can look up that same topic and, man, he said that. There's that picture. Like, just,
totally.
That's so crazy to me that in this day and age, I can have an idea and spread it to thousands of people within seconds. Like, that is phenomenal. And it's a good thing, as long as you're use it in the right way. That goes with anything. Guns, ideas, politics. If it's negative and it's being used negatively, then that's the effect it's going to have.
Right.
If it's positive and you're so involved in that positivity, then you can expect a tree with a lot of positivity to put forth a lot of fruit that's positive.
Absolutely. I think,
I'm going to throw some humor in there. We should do this in my platoon all the time, especially for the privates. What is your gun noise? And you can't use pew pew. That is overrated. What's your gun noise?
Tink, tink.
Tink, tink? Are you hitting steel?
Yeah, with a BB gun.
We should always do that. So, 2 Alpha, if you're listening, you'll remember that one. Anyway, I didn't mean to get us sidetracked. But don't take life too serious. That's one of my biggest regrets in 2015 is I worried too much about what other people thought, and I want to dedicate this year to making sure I'm doing the right things. But if there's something I want to do, just do it. When we were at Ranger Breakfast, one of the Rangers he was talking about, when he was in SF, he was talking about one of the programs he's involved in now. One of his own businesses that he started up.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, just all back to when I was in SF. I didn't know the ins and outs, but I just did it. So I just had to do it. And starting up a podcast, doing this, that, and the other, you get hung up on what people think of you. Is it right? Is it perfect? Is it, presentable to others? And you get caught up, and that becomes like dead weight, and you get to this stagnant sticking point, and you can't move past it. So, like, do your research, do your facts, make sure you've done your planning, because piss poor execution comes from piss poor planning. But if there's something you want to do, if there's something you want to accomplish, like, throw out your fears, throw out your doubts, and just do it. Because at the end of the day, a regret to me is, I don't know, inaction kills. Those who hesitate often meditate in a prone position. If you want something, go after it.
Yes. So I'll leave this podcast with something that I have been constantly saying over the past year, definitely over the past few days, just to reinforce everything within my life that is going on, is that what you manifest is before you. As my life quote, it is from The Art of Racing in the Rain, which is by far one of the best books you could obviously ever read. That what you manifest is before you. So, cheers.
2016. So before we end this, you got SHOT Show coming up. Do you want followers of the podcast to get in touch with you?
Absolutely.
How can we do that?
If you want to come hang out with me, hit us up on Havok Journal or on the Facebook page, on the Instagram page, and I will definitely get both of those through our different people that run those accounts. And you can, or if you can't figure it out, then contact Chance and he'll put you in touch with me. I'll be around throughout all of the different events, the Range 15 release, the Black and Tan Ranger Party on Tuesday night. If you are a Ranger and going to be in Vegas, I'd love to come, and I will actually be making you sandwiches for your evening. So come hang out, have a drink with us, and I will see you in Vegas.